This right here is section 4. Alright, and section 4, remember, is 38 questions and we have 55 minutes. The use of calculator is allowed. Alright guys, please remember you can use calculator for this part, and for some questions you need to use these formulas. So if you're not remembering the formula for maybe Pythagoras theorem or volume of a right circular cylinder, you can always come back right around here. Alright, volume also of a cuboid and stuff like that. Alright, so this is the first question in section number 4. It says, according to the line graph, between which two consecutive years was there the greatest change in the number of 3D movies? So the graph is depicting 3D movies. Greatest change mean when you see the biggest jump on the graph. The biggest jump would be from right here. Notice in 2010, let me change the color to blue. Notice in 2010, right here in 2010, what happened? Movie was somewhere about, number of 3D movies released was something like 26. But then look how it shoot, go all the way to 45 up here, right? So we noticed that there was a lot of movies released between 2010 to 2011. That was the most, all right? That was the most, and so number 1 would be option D. That's all. Just looking at the line graph to see which one have the steepest gradient. Whichever one have the steepest gradient, that's the greatest change. Steepest means the highest gradient. Everyone's cool with number 1?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Number 2 says some values of the linear function f are shown in the table. Now guys, once you hear they say the word linear function, then you know it is a straight line. And a straight line has the equation y equal mx plus c. Alright? So if you notice, when the x value is 1, the y value is 5. So we're saying when x is 1, the y value is 5. F of x is y. This is your f of x. Alright, so we're saying 5 is equal to, when x is 1 right here, 1 times m would be m plus c. Alright? And then now, realize that right here, when x is 3, if you replace x with 3 right here, you'd get 3 times m is 3m plus c, and the y value is 13. So now you notice you have a simultaneous equation to solve. Alright, if you subtract the two equations, so 13 is 3m plus c and 5 is m plus c, we subtract, we notice 13 minus 5 is 8, 3m minus m is 2m, so m equal 4. Without even going further, there's only one option where the gradient is 4. Y would be 4x plus 1. Alright? So you notice, look at this, in this option right here, when you put x as 1, 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1, give you f of x to be 5. When you put x as 5, 4 times 5 is 20 plus 1 is 21. So that's why it's option C. Cool with that?
Yes, sir.
Alright.
Yes, yes. Whenever they have to go through all of that, could have just look this way.
Yeah, we could have looked at it. Yeah, it's just observation. It's sequence. As you realize, 1 is 5, so 2 would be 9, 3, 13, 4 would map to 17. It's just a pattern. So we could see that it's 4 times the number x plus 1. Right? Yeah, but, you know, just to do a little rough work on the paper, we do that, right? Just to make it look like we do something. Right? So, yeah. So question 3 now, it says to make a bakery signature chocolate muffin, a baker needs 2.5 ounces of chocolate for each muffin. How many pounds of chocolate are needed to make 48? So as we see, it said that 2.5, sorry, why writing 4.8? 2.5 is what they say. 2.5 ounce, I'll use O to represent ounce. 2.5 ounce is used to make one muffin. Alright? So in order to make 48 muffin, we can just call that X. Alright? So if you were to cross multiply, we're saying that X is equal to 2.5 times 48 divided by 1. Alright? That's what we're saying. X is 2.5 times 48 divided by 1. And so you put that in your calculator, 2.5 times 48. That's giving us 120. But guys, this is what? 120 ounces. Remember they told us at the bottom right here, they said 1 pound is 16 ounce. So when you get your answer, you have to then divide it by 16. So 120, and then divide it by 16. 120 divided by 16, that will give you how many pounds it is.
7.5.
7.5, thank you. So that's 7.5. Sharp. Alright, that's 7.5. Alright, so 7.5 pounds of chocolate are needed to make one chocolate muffin. That's a lot of chocolate. Alright. Now, question 4, it says if 3 times C plus D is equal to 5, what is C plus D? All you have to do is divide both sides of the equation by 3. Notice if we divide both sides of the equation by 3, we'd get C plus D is 5 over 3. All we do was divide both sides of the equation by 3. This 3 cancel this 3, so C plus D is 5 over 3. So number 4 is an easy one. Alright? Alright, so let's have a look at question 5 here. Question 5, it says the weight of an object on Venus is approximately 9 over 10 of its weight on Earth. Alright, so what they're telling us is that the weight of something, let me call it W. So the weight of an object on Venus, WV mean weight of Venus, and they say it is 9 over 8, 9 over 10, sorry, not 8, 9 over 10 the weight on Earth. So let's call the weight on Earth E. And then they say the weight of the object on Jupiter is 23 over 10 of its weight on Earth. So the weight of the object on Jupiter, J for Jupiter, is 23 over 10 times the weight of it on Earth. Now, if the weight is 100 pounds on Earth, so they're telling us that E in this case is 100. Then they say, how many pounds more does it weigh on Jupiter than on Venus? So in that case, they're asking us to find the difference. So we need to find the difference. So for example, the weight on Jupiter would then be 23 over 10 times the weight on Earth, which is 100. 23 over 10 times 100 is what? That's 230, right? That's 230?
Yes, sir.
And then the weight on Venus would be 9 over 10 times the weight on Earth. And the weight on Earth is 100. So 9 over 10 times 100, that's 90. Now the question wants how many more pounds. So that's the difference. The difference between the two would be 230 minus 90, which is 140. Because they said how many more. That's the difference, 140. Alright? So it's definitely a lot heavier on Jupiter than it is on Venus. Everyone is cool with this question?
Yes, sir.
Alright, question 6 right here. Question 6, it says an online bookstore sells novels and magazines. Each novel sells for $4. So an online novel is $4 and each magazine is sold for $1. That's a good price. If Sadie purchased a total of 11 novels and magazines, so the total, that means when you combine the novels and the magazines, So let N represent novels. So we can call N novels, and maybe we can call M magazines. Right? So what they're telling us is that N plus M, novels plus magazines, they tell us that that's 11. It says, and that the combined selling price is $20. So what they're telling us then is that because each magazine is M, right? But at the end of the day, look at it. They told us that each magazine is just $1. So in terms of the monetary value now, let's put the monetary value equation in blue. $20 is equal to 4 times the number of magazines, number of novels N, because it's $4 for a novel, so it's 4 times N, plus $1, because it's $1 for a magazine, times M must equal 20. So they want us to know how many novels did she purchase. So this equation must be true, right? 4N plus M must be 20. So literally they're asking us to solve for N. So from the two equations, we can subtract them. So 4N minus N, 4N minus N would give us 3N, and 20 minus 11 would give us 9. So then we divide both sides by 3. In other words, we're getting then that N is equal to 9 over 3, and 9 over 3 is 3. So that means that she bought 3 novels. So say they bought 3 novels. So she bought 3 novels and she bought 8 magazines. Even though they didn't ask for magazines, because we know 3 plus 8 is 11. So this is what she bought. 3 novels and 8 magazines. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Alright, question number 7. Question number 7 says the Downtown Business Association in a certain city plans to increase its membership by a total of N business per year. So guys, it's increasing linearly. So always start to have an idea of what's happening. So look at this. Let's say X is the number of years that the business is in operation for, X. And then Y is just the amount of what they say they're increasing, their membership. Why is the membership that's increasing per year? So look at this. What we're saying is at the start, X is 0, right? At the start. When you're just born, you're 0 days old. Then after 1 year time, you become 1 year old. Look what they say. They say there were B businesses at the beginning. Meaning when the business just start, you have B. Right? When X is 0, Y value is B. Then, look what happened. It's increasing, N business, it's increasing by a total of N per year. Increasing by a total of N per year means that the very next year now, increasing by N, it would be N plus B. So then in the second year now, you increase by N again, that would be 2N plus B. The third year, that would be 3N plus B. I would just increase by N each year, so we add N to it. Which one of these equations best represent this? That would be option A. If you're not seeing it directly, remember that once it's increasing at a constant rate, it's in the form y equal mx plus c. Alright? So if we weren't seeing it directly, then remember that m is the gradient of the line. M is just y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. In that case, it would be, you can use any y value you want as y2 and any other y value you want as your y1. So let's say you're using these 2 points, right? So we use this as y2, y1. So y2, that would just be n plus b minus y1b over x2, which is 1, minus x1 of 0. N plus b minus b, that is n. 1 minus 0 is 1. So already we get that the gradient m is n. So that's y equal nx. And then your constant c is just the y-axis intercept. In other words, what is the y value when x equals 0? That y value is b. Wow! That's why it's option A. That's cool? All right, so the more you practice, you'll be able to just see the question and look at it and know the option is A.
So Curtis said B is a constant, you know, the equation for a linear.
A linear line, exactly, yeah. Yeah, I'm just showing the full steps so everyone is okay. But I'm saying the more you practice, then this would just be a straightforward question. You look at it, you just, oh, A. Next question, oh, gone. You get what I'm saying? The more you practice, then that's when it becomes easier. You just look at the questions and you see the answers. All right, but remember, we're just breaking it down so everyone is.
Yes, sir.
All right, question 9. Question 9 says, in the 1908 Olympics, that's too long ago, the Olympic marathon was lengthened from 40 kilometers to approximately 42 kilometers. So notice that they increase it by 2 kilometers. So they increase the distance by 2 kilometers. Now they say, of the following, which is the closest to the increase of the Olympic marathon in miles? Now, first thing is they told us down here that 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. So what we need to do is divide the 2 kilometers by 1.6 to figure out how many miles that is. So you're going to divide 2 kilometers. 2 kilometers divided by 1.6. So just converting, that's 1.25. All right, so 2 kilometers is 1.25 miles. All right, that was fairly simple, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, question 8. Question 8 says, which of the following is equivalent of the form, all of this right here, 1.5x minus 2.4 square minus 5.2x square minus 6.4. So which of the following is equivalent? So first thing we need to do is expand this side. Always remember that when you're squaring something, you're multiplying it by itself. So really what they have is 1.5x minus 2.4 multiplied by 1.5x minus 2.4. And then you're going to subtract the 5.2x squared.
Okay, let's off the X, sir.
I leave off the x, thank you. All right, and then we subtract our 6.4. All right, so that is what square means, guys. The square right here just means that we're multiplying it by itself. So now we're gonna have to multiply each term. So 1.5x times 1.5x, that is 2.25x square, right? Agreed? This times this is 2.25x squared.
Yes, sir.
And then we multiply the 1.5x. We're then going to multiply it by the negative 2.4. So we're going to multiply this times 2.4. Tell me what that is. 1.5 times negative 2.4.
Negative 3.6.
Negative 3.6. Thank you. So negative 3.6x. Then we'll multiply negative 2.4 times 1.5 again. That's another negative 3.6x. Then multiply negative 2.4 times negative 2.4. Multiply these for me now. Negative 2.4 times negative 2.4. 24 square.
5.76.
5.76, yeah. 5.76. So notice that the square part, what we're saying, that part down here simplifies to be 2.25x squared minus 7.2x plus 5.76. And then we're going to be subtracting 5.2x squared minus 6.4. But when you expand in the negative, it becomes minus 5.2x squared. And then minus and minus become plus, so that becomes plus 6.4. Right?
Yes, sir.
And so What we get now is all you need to do is just simplify like terms. We notice we have a 2.25x squared and a minus 5.2x squared. So when we simplify that, we get minus 2.95x squared minus 7.2x, and then 5.76 plus 6.4, that's plus 12.16, right?
Yes, sir.
That's option C. All right, guys, this is now, wait, that's question 8. Oh, I did 9 already. We did 9. Question 10, this is a physics question. That's density. They're using the wrong symbol for density. What's density? Density is rho.
Bro.
Yeah, density is rho. So they're using the wrong symbol. But because it's math, we're not going to pressure them. So they say that the density of an object is found by dividing the mass of the object by its volume. So they're saying density is mass divided by volume. Which of the following equations give the mass? So all you have to do, guys, is cross multiply. Right? What they're asking you to do is make M the subject. Transpose to make M the subject. So if we cross multiplying, we're saying 1 times M is equal to V times D, or D times V. So the mass is just the density of the object times its volume. Right? And that would be option A. Everyone's cool with that?
Come on.
Alright, question 11. Question 11, it says, in the xy plane, the graph of which of the following equation is perpendicular to the graph of the equation above? So as you can see, we have the equation they give you is minus 2x plus 3y equals 6. Now remember from last term we said two lines are perpendicular if the product of their gradient is negative 1. So if you look at the gradient of this line, the gradient of this line would be, make y the subject. Bring over the 2x, you'd be getting 3y is equal to, bring this 2x over here, bring the 2x to the right side, that would be 2x plus 6. And you divide both sides by 3, we end up get y is 2 over 3x plus 6 over 3, and 6 over 3 is 2. In other words, we're getting that the gradient of this line is equal to 2 over 3. Now, if the next line we need is supposed to be perpendicular to this line, then we need a line. We need, if this is a gradient, let's call it M1, we need the next line to have a gradient of negative 3 over 2. Which of these lines would have a gradient of negative 3 over 2? Looks like option A. Now, if you don't see that it's option A straight away, look at it. Make y the subject. Make y the subject from option A right here. And notice what you'd get is 2y is equal to, bring the 3x over to the right side. That's minus 3x plus 6. Then you divide both sides by 2. And you notice that this line would give you negative 3 over 2x plus 6 over 2, which is 3. Notice that this would then give us the gradient that's perpendicular to this line up here.
So how you know it's supposed to be negative 3 over 2?
Alright, remember, what did we say about when two lines are perpendicular? When two lines are perpendicular, the product of their gradient is negative 1. So M1 times M2 should be negative 1. So if you make M2 the subject, M2 should be equal to negative 1 over M1. So all you'd have to do is take out your calculator. For those who still maybe not seen it yet, after you get the gradient is 2 over 3, take out a calculator and say negative 1 over 2 over 3. Negative 1 over 2 over 3. That's negative 3 over 2. So you're looking for which one have a gradient of negative 3 over 2. That would definitely be option A. Alright? Cool with this?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Now question 12. Question 12. Very nice question. They tell us that a half of y is equal to 4. A half of y. So if a half of y is 4, then that is telling us that y must be 8. Because a half of 8 is 4, don't it?
Yes, sir.
Half of the number 8 is 4. So without doing anything, we know that y is 8. So now they want what's the value of x. So now we can use the second equation and say x minus a half of, we know y is 8. And we know the result they say is 2. A half of 8 is 4. So x minus 4 is 2. So which number we subtract 4 we get 2? That must be 6. Because 6 minus 4 will give you 2. So that's option B. Everybody cool with that? Alright, question number 13. Now, question number 13, this is really a topic that we call linear programming from CSEC math. Alright, when you have two inequality region, but I'm not going to show it the linear programming method. What I want you to do is just use trial and error. When you have two inequalities, use trial and error. Alright? Use trial and error. What do I mean by trial and error? Try which values is going to satisfy both inequalities. My apologies. From down here, it says that x minus y should be greater than 1. Alright? So, as I see this, I am looking at when I subtract the y value from the x, it must be positive. The only option that is standing out to me right here is this one already, without even doing anything. Because look, when x is 2 right here, remember in the coordinate system, this is x and this is y. So what they're saying here is 2 minus 1, that would be equal to 3. But we know 3 is greater than 1. So it has to be option D. Looking at part C, no. Part B, no. Part A, no. So clearly, we don't even need to use the first equation up there. Option D, the only answer. So you don't want to be doing linear programming, solving the inequality region, and taking a long time. Just use trial and error for these questions. Alright? Is that cool?
Yes, sir.
Alright, question 14. My favorite topic, probability. Alright, because it's a part of statistics. Alright, so this says in a survey, 607 general surgeons and orthopedic surgeons indicated their major professional activity. The results are summarized in the table above. If one of the surgeons is selected at random, which of the following is closest to the probability that the selected surgeon is an orthopedic surgeon whose indicated professional activity is research? Now guys, I know them saying a whole heap of stuff right here, but all they're asking you to do is which of the following is closest to the probability that the surgeon is what? An orthopedic surgeon and is doing research. So what we're going to do is look for orthopedic and doing research. That would be, so the intersection here, only 74 doctors or 74 surgeons are orthopedic and doing research. So that probability is working out to be 74 out of probabilities out of all possibility. The total number is 607 out of 607. Now notice that they give the answers as decimal, so you're going to have to take out your calculator and put in 74 over 607, and then you get 0.122. So that would be option A. Alright, 0.122. You have to convert this to decimal. Now question 15, it says, my gosh, why so much words? Alright, sorry about that. So a polling agency recently surveyed 1,000 adults who were selected at random from a large city and asked each adult, are you satisfied with the quality of air in the city? What a stupid question to ask. But of these Of those surveyed, 78% responded they are satisfied with the quality of air in the city. Based on the result of the survey, which of the following statement must be true? No, of all the adults in the city, 78% are satisfied. No, we cannot you cannot say this is true. Of all, no. We cannot say of all. We only surveyed 1,000 people from a large city. So the 1,000 people can't even be a true representative of a large city. So that's not true. It says if another 1,000 adult is selected at random from the city, 78% would report. Would is a direct word saying absolutely. They're saying that the absolute value would be 78% would report that they are satisfied. That's not true. All right? Not because the first 1,000 you selected, 78% is okay. Mean another 1,000 person you select, 78% gonna say they're okay with the air. That's not true. If 1,000 adults were selected at random from different cities, well, first and foremost, we can't even make any correlation with another city. So automatically this one out. So none. So they made us do all that reading for nothing at all. That was so... I don't know what was that. Why did they do that?
Well, it's basically like easy marks.
And make us run out of time.
Yeah, that I guess this is one of the questions to get you to run out of time. So guys, questions like these, don't waste your time, right? Even though they want us to waste our time. So they just took away 3 minutes to read all of this for nothing. So, my gosh. All right. Well, we had gotten right here to question 15 or 16. Number 16. So we just did 15. And we got that 15 was... What did we get for 15? Oh, none.
None.
Yeah, thank you. All right, question 16 now, guys. Question 16, it says... This refers to question 16 to 18, all right? And it says... One method of calculating the approximate age in years of a tree is multiplying the diameter of the tree by the growth factor. And they give us the growth factor in the table. So we don't need to read nothing more. We just need to answer the question. It says, according to the information in the table, what is the approximate age of the American tree with a diameter of 12 inches? So all we're going to do is look for American elm. And they say we'll multiply the diameter of the tree by the growth factor. So they give us the growth factor is 4. So we're going to multiply 4 times the diameter of the tree. So the age is going to be 4 times 12, which is 48 years. That's option D. That wasn't too bad. Easy so far, right? That part good?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Alright. You just want it to be rough. You're not trying to make it be pretty and nice and nobody has time for that, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Alright, now this diagram here, it says the scatter plot above gives oh alright, I think this is zoomed a little too much. Let me out zoom. Alright, this says now the scatter plot above gives the tree diagram plotted against 26 trees of a single species. The growth factor of this species is closest to which of the following? So, as you can see, they give us 26 species and we don't know which species it is because they say it's of one type. Now, the first thing is, remember, in order to find the, what's the word they call it? The growth factor is just the age divided by the tree diameter. So in other words, we need to find the gradient of this scatter plot. So we need a line of best fit. That's why I like this one, because I'm able to use my line of best fit. I do have no straight line right here. Let me see how I can get a straight line. Is there a way I can get a straight line in Edge? This is not a line of best fit. That's awful. Alright? Because you need... Now, why am I stressing the straight line? Guys, you need a straight line because notice most of these valleys are close. So any little Any best fit line that is slightly incorrect going to give you an incorrect answer. Because maybe you use a best fit that's not really correct, you get 4.5. But then you also see one of them have a gradient of 4 and one have a gradient of 5. Any little slight deviation might throw you off. So your line have to be very accurate for your gradient. So this is not a perfect line. So I really need the straight line. But let's just work with this, right? Let's go down. This is 15 and a half. Going across, that is, let's just say 120. All right, so 120 using this point here and another point on my best fit using here to be 12. So 120 minus y2. Y2 look like maybe 88 over x2, 15.5 minus x1 of 12. What does that give us? 120 minus 88 over 15.5 minus 12. That's giving me 9.14. That's 9.14. Now, that's not accurate at all. All right? But I'm looking for something that's slightly below or slightly above 9. So anyone that's slightly below or slightly above 9, I'll work with. The only one closest to 9 is 7.5. Alright. The good thing is it didn't affect us too much with our line of best fit. So that would be the Shang bark hickory. So that's the Shang bark hickory. Alright. 7.5 should be the actual gradient. So if you were to actually use a perfect line of best fit that's going to pass through somewhere down here, you're going to get 7.5. So all you have to do was find the line of best fit. Good at that? Alright, question 18, it says, if a white birch tree and a pink oak tree both have a diameter of 1 foot, which of the following is closest to the difference in inches of their diameter 10 years from now? So we need to look at what's going to happen 10 years from now. But first thing, let's find the age right now. Because before we can find the age, before we can even work out anything on what happened to their diameters 10 years from now, we need to find out what is their current age. So look at this. For the white birch tree, remember the formula said that age was what? Age is the growth factor times the diameter. So of the white birch tree, it's going to be 5. This is the white birch tree, 5. So multiply 5 times the diameter of the white birch tree, and the diameter is 1 foot. But 1 foot is 12 inches. Alright, so in other words, we're saying for the white birch tree, I'll call it white birch tree, W. The age is now 12 times 5, which is 60. That's its current age. So in the next 10 years, 10 years later, so we can call it later, that means that the age going to be 70. All right. So look at this now. For the pin oak tree, its age is going to be the 12 times. We need to look what's the pin oak tree growth factor. So the growth factor is going to be pin oak is 3. So the pin oak tree is 3. So 12 times 3 is 36. So the pin oak tree young man, 36 years. So later it's going to be 46. Now the question don't ask us nothing about age. It want know the difference in their diameter 10 years later. So first thing now is we need to find what are the diameters later. This is where you're going to go back to the equation and remember, guys, that this is the equation that they give us, that the age is equal to growth factor, let's call it G, times the diameter. So in other words, if you make the diameter the subject, the diameter will be age divided by the growth factor, right? Age divided by growth factor is diameter, right?
Yes, sir.
So 10 years later now, guys, we're going to go down and say, all right, when it is 70, we divide 70 by the growth factor. 70 divided by the growth factor of 5. Somebody put that in the calculator. And 46 divided by the growth factor of 3. 70 over 5, that's 15.
14.
14.
14. And 46 divided by 3, what's the growth factor?
15.2.
15 point. Look at it. Obvious now. The difference is 1.3, right?
Yes, sir.
So that one was very obvious. So the difference is 1.3. So that would be the difference in...
You did alright.
Alright.
Alright. Alright, guys. So for question 19, it says, it does give you this triangle and say, what is the length of AD? Now, if you're looking at this triangle, we notice they have a right angle there. So this is a right angle. And notice that this angle is 30. Angles in a triangle sum to 180. So that means this would also be 60. Does that make sense? That's 60 degrees.
Yes, sir.
And if this is 60 degrees, then up top here should be what?
30.
30. Very good. Because angles in a triangle sum to 180 again. So look what we're saying now. If this, look at this. Cumulatively, this side is 60 degrees. This is 60 degrees and this is 60 degrees. So
Yes, sir.
there wasn't much math to do right there. All right. Now, question 21. Question 21 says, in the equation, A is negative and B is positive. Which of the following must be true? So I know Avandre, you missed class on Friday. You missed something sweet in Avandre.
Sir, I know.
Yeah, man. So I know many of us not familiar with what we know, what we call direct proof. But look at this right here. This question right here, it says A is negative. If A is negative, we represent a negative number as saying A is negative, meaning it's less than 0, right? Everyone agree with that?
Yes, sir.
And then they told us that B is positive. A positive number we write as greater than 0, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, guys, look at this. If B right here is positive, then the minus B in the equation is what? Minus B would be negative, right?
Yes, sir.
So, guys, look what I'm saying then. What I'm saying then is A minus B going definitely be negative. When you add two negative number, it just stay negative, don't it?
Yes, sir.
And remember, they told us that A was negative from the start. So when you divide by A and you divide by A, when you divide by a negative number, what happened to the inequality sign? What happened to
Sign switch.
your sign switch? So A minus B over A going to become greater than 0. In that case, we're saying that the answer must be positive, don't it?
Oh,
So in other words, the only option that is A. Because guys, if C is just 1, that's only giving us one possible solution. But there are multiple negative A values and B values that will satisfy this equation. So clearly it would have to be C greater than 1. C greater than 0 is the same thing as saying C greater than 1. Alright? So in that case, it's option A. Is that cool?
hello.
Understood.
Alright. Alright, now guys, question 22. Question 22, it says, in state X, Mr. Camp's 8th grade class consisting of 26 students surveyed and 34.6% of students reported that they had at least 2 siblings. At least mean what? What the word at least mean? At least
2
means
plus.
2 or more. Very good. At least means greater than or equal to. So that means you have 35% roughly have 2 siblings or more. That's crazy. That's saying that so many. That means that 34.6, that's a lot. So that means that if 34.6 have more than or equal to 2 siblings, if you subtract this from 100, that would give the remaining percentage that have less than 2, don't it? So that would be what? 100 minus 34.6 is what? 60. Is that 60 or 50? 100 minus
65.
60. 65 point how much?
Five.
4? So 65.4 people gonna have less than 2 siblings. Alright? 65.4 gonna have less than 2. Let's hear what they say now. They say the average 8th grade class is 26. Cool? And they said that there are 1,800 8th grade classes in the state. So guys, for the entire state, there are 1,800 8th grade classes. So in other words, look at this. If each class is 26 and you have 1,800 classes, you can multiply them. That means that this is the total number of, this is the, or I put 18,000, 1,800. This is the total number of 8th grade students in the state. So the total number of 8th grade students, so 8th grade students total is equal to 46,800. Now it says, notice what the question says now. Which of the following best estimates the number of 8th grade students who have fewer than 2 siblings? So of this total, we know that 65.4% gonna have fewer than 2 siblings. So we just need to multiply the total by 65.4%. But remember, percent is really, in other words, you can multiply it by 0.654 as a decimal. So in a calculator, you're going to multiply it by 0.654. In other words, that is 30,600. That's the estimate. 30,600 have fewer than 2 siblings, which makes sense, right? Majority of the population have to have fewer than 2 siblings. All right? That makes sense. All right, the next one, which is question 23. My gosh, why they want we read so much? All right. All right, let's look at this now. So I'm just going to skim through, guys, because as I say, it's a whole heap of nothing sometime. They tell us, looking at the table, we have price, purchase, and monthly rental costs. So we skim through the document here. Now, over here, they say the relationship between the monthly price, they call it R. This is R. And then they tell us that the purchase price, they call the purchase price P. Which of the following we can relate to? Monthly price to purchase price. So guys, notice that looking at these answers, the first thing is, this is like your Y and your X. Your monthly price is like your Y, and this is like your X. So all we need to see is which one going to give a similar gradient. Whichever one we can find the gradient for, and it's going to give us, you know, that value. We don't even need to work out the C value, right? So let's just find the gradient. So gradient, as we know, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So these are our y values. I'm going to use the two smallest y values because I don't want to use any big number. So that would be 950 minus 515 over x2. Now notice they said that x2 is in thousands of dollars. So the 128,000 in thousands, that's just 128. That's just 128 because the 128 represent 128,000. All right? Minus this right here is 70,000. That represents 71,000. So that's just minus 70. Put that in a calculator, and whichever gradient you get, then that would be the answer. All right? So that's a quick and easy way to work that question. We're not stressing ourselves. 950 minus 515 over 128.
7.5.
7.5. All right, thank you. 7.5, that's option D. So we're not stressing ourselves. That's option D. Everybody cool with that?
Yes, sir. Sir, if I say linear, you know the equation.
Linear, yeah. Once you see linear, you know it's a straight line. You just know it's something with gradient straight away, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, question 24. It says Townsend Reality. This is Townsend Reality. Purchase the Glenview Street property and receive 40% discount. So guys, if you get 40% discount on the original price, that means that you're paying, if you get 40% discount, that means you're paying 60% of the item, right? If you get 40% discount, then you're paying 60% of the original price, right?
Yes,
so that's going to be 0.6 times x plus, all right, let me write this a little better. This is saying 0.6x. Let me write the x a little better. 0.6x. X is the original price. That's what we're trying to find. Then they say that after you pay that, you get, along with an additional 20% discount price for purchasing the property in cash. So you get 20% off that discounted price. My gosh, the sweetie. So they're going to give us another 20% discount. So if you're getting another 20% discount, then in reality, of the 0.6x, another 20% discount means you're going to pay 80% of this price, right? So you're going to pay 80% of discounted price. Does that make sense? If you get 20% discount, then it's 80% of the discounted price. So that's 0.8 of this discounted price, and the discounted price is 0.6x. So then you multiply 0.8 times 0.6, that's 0.48 times x, and then they tell us that 0.48 times x, that is the price of the Glenview Street property. Then you go up to the price for Glenview Street property. Let's look at it. The Glenview Street property, if we look in the table, was 140,000. That was the final selling price. So what we then do is equate this to 140,000. Now to find the original price, you just make x the subject. So divide both sides by 0.48. This cancel this. So x is 140,000 over 0.48. And you put that in a calculator. Oof.
291.
291. All right, thank you. So without even doing it, that's 291,700. And I put this part in a calculator. All right, so that was the original price, but the amount of discount, you end up paying less than half of it. Guys, imagine if that was in Jamaica. Imagine we can buy a house and you're going to get so much discount. That makes sense, don't it? 6 million, chop it down to 3 million, chop off. Oh, yes, man, we get a house long time. But it don't work like that still. Yeah, Jamaica is not that nice, but that's what happened there. But let's go. They say now a psychologist set up an experiment to study the tendency of a person to select the first item when presented the series of items. Alright, so in the experiment, 300 people were presented with a set of 5 pictures arranged in random order. Each person was asked to choose the most appealing picture. Of the first 150, 36 chose the first picture. Among the remaining 150, P people chose the first picture in the set. If more than 20% of all participants chose the picture in the set, which of the following inequalities best represent the possible values of P? Now straight away we know it's a P, it's a plus. The only one with the plus and it's option D. Why did I say that? Remember, P represent what? P represent the people that chose the picture in the first set. So already they tell you that 36 chose the first set. So it must be the rest. We just need to find the rest that choose it, don't it? So the 36 plus the rest of them. That's so easy. We didn't need to do anything. Wow! Right? So 36 in that P, and then we need to find the rest of people that chose from the first that chose the first picture from the group of 5. Alright, now question 26. Question 26, guys, it says the surface area of a cube is 6a over 4 square. Now, I don't know how many of us remember a cube, but a cube have what happened? The length and width and height are all the same, right? Remember that with a cube, right? So guys, I'm just doing a rough sketch of a cube. This is a cube. I know my sketch is not perfect, but that's a cube. We know that the length, the width, and the height are the same. So for a cube, notice that it has 6 faces. It have a front face, a side face, another side face, a back face, the top face, and a bottom face. So it have 6 faces, right? Agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Now guys, because it have 6 faces, right? And the total surface area is 6a over 4 square, right? That means that the area of each face, if it have 6 faces, what we're saying then is the area of just one face would be equal to the total surface area divided by 6, right? So the 6a over 4 square divided by 6, that would give us a over 4 square, right?
Yes, sir.
So that gives us the area of one face. So that's the area of one face, guys. So the area of one face is a over 4 square. But area of a square, because when you take off the dimensions of a cube, you get a square. In that case, we have the length, and area of a square is length square. So we're saying that the length square is a over 4 all square. So we're saying that the length, if you square root both sides, is a over 4. That's the length of one side of this cube. So the length of one side of the cube is a over 4. This is a over 4. This side is a over 4. Now, what did the question want? It said, what is the perimeter of one face? What perimeter mean?
Add up all sides.
Add up all the sides going around. So let me change the color to black. So this is the perimeter, all the sides going around. So if this side is a over 4, this side is a over 4, this side is a over 4, and this side is a over 4. Add a over 4 4 times. A over 4 plus a over 4 plus a over 4 plus a over 4. That gives you perimeter. That gives you 4a over 4. And 4a over 4 is just a. So that's option B. That's the perimeter of one face of the cube. That was easy, right?
Yes, sir.
Alright, question 27. We love these questions with means. Means are usually the best question on the paper. It says the mean score of 8 players in a basketball game was 14.5. Now guys, remember that mean is equal to add up all the scores divided by the number of players or the number of scores. So in that case, they said the mean of 14.5, that's equal to the sum. We don't know what the sum is, but we divide it by 8 players. So we can cross multiply to get that the sum of those 8 scores would be 8 times 14.5. What's 8 times 14.5?
116.
All right, 116. All right, so guys, please remember this section, you should have a calculator. So that's 116. Then they went further now and they said that, let me change the color here. They went further and say that if the highest individual score was removed, and now you're left back with the remaining 7 players, and now the average becomes 12, what is the highest score? So now we're dividing by 7, and they told us that the average is now 12. So we can call this the new sum. Let's call it S new. So we cross multiply, we don't need calculator for that. 12 times 7 is 84, right? We know 12 times. So now to find the highest score, guys, 32, very good. The 116 minus the 84, yes. So the highest score is 32. Alright, absolutely right. So that would give you the highest score, because we took out the highest score, so we subtract. Alright, that's that.
Jada question, nice room.
Yeah, that was nice. Wow! Alright, question 28. Question 28 is a graph question. It says, the graph of the linear function f shown in the xy plane above, the slope of the graph of the linear function g is 4 times the slope of the graph of f. If the graph of g passes through the point 0 minus 4, what is the value of g of 9? So first thing, guys, is we need to identify the gradient of this line right here, because this is the line f. So looking at the graph, we see that if we're to find the gradient, just use any 2 random points. This would be when x is 2. When x is 2, the y value is 1, 2, 3, 4. And then when x is, what is this? Minus 2, the y value is, that looks like 1, right? No, this is not 1, this is 2.
2.
This is 2, the y value is 2. So now we can say that the gradient of f is y2, which is 4, minus y1 of 2. Remember, we're just finding the gradient of this line. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's going to be 4 minus 2 is 2. And 2 minus minus 2, that's positive 2. And 2 plus 2 is 4. So the gradient of f is a half. Wow! The equation of this line, f is a half x plus the y-intercept right here, which is 3. Now notice what they said. They said that the slope g does what? The gradient of g is 4 times the slope of f. So they're telling us that g of x is it have 4 times the gradient of f. So 4 times a half, that's the gradient of g times x. And then they tell us the y-axis intercept, because they say when x is 0, the y value is 4. In other words, they're telling us g of x is 4 times a half is 2x minus 4. So now we need to find g of 9. So we're going to put the x value as 9. Put x as 9 right here. That's 2 times 9 minus 4. 18 minus 4.
14.
Easy. Wow! That's that question right there. Alright? Pull it that.
Yes, sir.
Alright. Alright, now I know many of us, we're not doing pure mathematics, so I'm not going to show us any rigorous way of finding the center of the circle. Guys, anytime you're given a circle in its general form, this is what we call the general form of a circle. What you're going to do is divide the x term and the y term by -2. The coefficient of that is the center of the circle. So look at it. You have 20 as the coefficient of x here, and the coefficient of the y term is 16. So divide the 20 by -2 and divide the 16 by -2, and that will be the coordinate of the center of the circle. 20 divided by -2 is -10. 16 divided by -2 is -8. That's B.
Wait, sir, could I complete the square so
Yeah,
easy?
yeah, but you're not going to do it this way. You're a pure math student, so we're going to do it the rigorous way. But this is the shortcut of finding the center of the circle.
Sir, why never tell this to check to answer them?
I don't want you to do the shortcut way. You're a math student.
Oh, makes sense.
Alright? Yeah, but for persons who finish with math from CSEC days, they don't know about circles. So this is what you do. Alright? Most of us finish with math from CSEC, so you don't need to be learning about a circle right now. But, alright, so please, once you do that, we'll be fine. Now, guys, question 30, as I was saying, this is now a difference of two square question. So I'm going to write back something that we should be familiar with from CSEC math. A square minus b square is equal to a plus b times a minus b. This is known as the difference of two square. In this case, your a is x. So x squared minus a. You see, a can be written as the square root of a squared. Yeah, check it out. For example, if you have the square root of 3 and then you square it, the square cancels the square root and that is 3. So we're saying that using difference of 2 squared, this is x minus the square root of a times x plus the square root of a. That's the difference of 2 squared. That's option B. Alright? So this is the formula that we use to do this question. A square minus b square is a plus b times a minus b. Wow! Pull it that. Alright guys, now this question, it says horsepower and watts are units of measure of power. And they say that they are directly proportional. So if they're directly proportional, I'm going to call the horsepower P and the watts W. So we're saying that W is proportional to P, right? From CSEC days, that's proportional symbol, right?
Yes, sir.
So that is saying that since they're directly proportional, then W is equal to a constant times P. That's what we're saying. W is a constant times P, where W is watts and P is horsepower. So now notice they say that when the horsepower is 5, so that's when P is 5, W is 3730. In that case, we have 3730. That's equal to the constant times P. P is 5, so that's 5 times our constant K. In that case, we can divide both sides by 5 to find what is K. Divide both sides by 5 for me and tell me what we get. 3730 divided by 5. So K equal, what we get for K?
746.
746. All right, good. 746. Now notice that right here it says how much power in watts is equal to 2 horsepower. Horsepower we said is P. So when